How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Grand Archive video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we have a deck tech featuring one of my absolute favorite decks in Grand Archive right now, Fire Daochan. And this is actually a deck where we get to level 3, but we're not going to be playing a ton of Terra cards. We'll talk about why we get to level 3. Mostly, this deck is to play my favorite card in Grand Archive right now. I think it actually might be one of my top 3 favorite cards. Firebloom Flourish is awesome, and it might just be one of my favorite cards ever made. This card is so good. We'll talk about why I love this card so much when we go over the deck itself. As always, we will have a link in the description down below to a deck list and other great stuff like, hey, if you'd like to support me, the Patreon's down there, the merch store is down there if you'd like to get some excellent, Red Zone Rogue merch with stuff drawn by Grand Archive artists, Pinakis, Yule, Hanchu, excellent stuff. And speaking of which, we have a giveaway today. This is a Hanchu wallet made by Main Deck and JWW Cards. I have my own here just so I can show you a little bit better. But yeah, we're gonna give this away today. This was sent to me by Dan from Main Deck to give out to all y'all. So how do you enter to get one of these wallets? Well, all you got to do is comment down below. Well, you got to be a subscriber too. Hey, come on now. But just comment down below what your favorite deck is in Grand Archive right now. That's it. You also have to be a subscriber, obviously, and I'll pick the winner in a couple weeks or so after I get back from Japan, because by the time you are watching this, I am very, very likely still in Tokyo. But I'll pick the winner sometime after I get back. So comment down below. Stay tuned for the deck tech right now. All right, let's start talking about the deck. These are the 2 cards that I pulled out from the intro. And also, there's a little bit of a nicer close-up of the mighty wallet that we will be giving away. Once again, art by great friend of the channel, Hanchu. Definitely go follow her, especially if you like spicy artwork. I don't know why I said it so intensely like that. Especially if you like that, yeah. Anyway, let's start talking about Daochan and this fire deck, which is just super good. I have it in this lovely Guoja deck box. I need to get a Daochan deck box to go with my Daochan playmat and my Daochan deck. I don't know, maybe eventually. So yeah, this is a deck that we technically get to level 3, which is pretty sweet. This is a fragmented Spirit of Fire deck, and a deck that I drew a lot of inspiration from and by a lot I mean it's almost the same inspiration from a top 8 Seattle deck. And I want to give a big shout out to the deck's creator and pilot, Rex. I don't know if it's going to focus very well, Rex Cannon. I actually interviewed him at the Ascent Seattle when I was doing casting. Really love this deck. Chatted with him a little bit about it. And I've kind of done a little bit of my own takes, but I really haven't changed it all that much. I love the deck quite a bit, and it'd be interesting to see if other folks take this and do other things with it. But let's talk about the deck. Essentially, this is what it boils down to is that it's a burn deck, right? It is a tried and true burn deck that relies on a lot of cards that deal like just direct damage to our opponents. And yes, Searing Rebuke is a direct damage card. We've got stuff like Rococo, Shimmering Refractions, Glaring Conflagrations, Cinder Geyser, just all these really powerful burn cards that can just burn our opponent out. And it's all backed up with some amount of fractals. We don't run a ton of fractals in this deck, a lot less than kind of like your Water Daochan fractals deck. So it plays a little bit differently, but the key thing is I get to play one of my favorite cards ever made, Firebloom Flourish. I absolutely adore this card. It's so good. If you know Magic the Gathering, this is essentially a Phyrexian Arena that deals damage to your opponent instead of you. You draw cards and deal damage to your opponent. For only 2, this card is wild. You know what, let's just talk about this. This is like the whole reason why I wanted to build this deck. So Firebloom Flourish, it's a 2-drop Fantasia Cleric spell. Fantasias are really important in this deck because we have cards that care about the number of Fantasias we have, and we have cards that turn our Fantasias into allies that we can then use to attack. So Fantasias are really important. We have a decent number of them in the deck. I don't remember off the top of my head, close to like 20-ish or something like that. We have 18, I counted, we have 18 Fantasias, but it's really important for other cards in the deck. And so what this card does, it has a class bonus and then a Daochan bonus. Luckily, we are both. So class bonus, at the beginning of your recollection phase, deal 1 damage to target champion. So it's a consistent 1 damage every single turn. That's pretty good. And then also Daochan bonus, at the beginning of our end phase, if our influence is 4 or less, draw a card into your memory and put a glimmer counter on your champion. This is nuts. This makes it so we can kind of go all in more often than normal and still get advantage back. This is such a crazy card. Definitely a card that you wanna get in your opening hand. We do have a little bit of a mulligan here because we are playing with the Fragmented Spirit, which does have the little mini. It's not a mini, it's just basically a mulligan. So we'll talk about that when we talk about that. But this card is wild, and I love it so much. The art by Pinakes is absolutely S tier as well. Everything about this card is ridiculously good. So yeah, my favorite card in the deck, and one of my favorite cards just ever made. So let's go ahead and talk about our material deck before we start talking about the rest of the deck. But just rest assured, this is a burn deck. If you want to play a burn strategy, this is a great option. So let's talk about our. We'll go from the back. So this is the Fragmented Spirit of Fire. Why are we playing the Fragmented Spirit? Well, it's because we are going to level 3, so we can actually make use of our token. Let's go grab said token. This is the sideboard here. We'll talk about the sideboard when the time comes. So where, oh yeah, we have the custom token from friend Lucky Yuki. So basically, on enter, glimpse 6, draw 6 cards, and summon a Spirit Shard token. So this gives us basically a mulligan, right? And we want to basically mulligan for stuff like Fire Bloom Flourish, which is just straight gas. We can mulligan for combos like Searing Rebuke and our Fractal of Sparks. We'll talk about this combo when the time comes, but rest assured, it's 9 damage to your opponent's face if you have a bunch of Sparks and you do Searing Rebuke. We can maybe try to go for Zhang Zhao's, or any number of cards, maybe even some Dungeon Guides if we need them. But essentially, I want to mulligan for I want to mulligan for Fire Bloom Flourish and just other like really powerful like interactive stuff. Getting early fractals is really good as well. So that's kind of like where I want to be when I'm doing the mulligan. All right, and then later at level 3+, you can sack your fragment and then draw cards. So you still get the 7 cards. It's just kind of like on layaway. And as you saw, we are getting to level 3 with this deck. So yes, there is that. I should also mention, I mentioned at the start, hey, we have some custom Red Zone Rogue sleeves and on our merch store, redzonerogue.com. Just letting you know. Just saying. The whole Evo, or the whole material deck is like. So anyway, level 1 Daochan. So this is the one that most people are going to be familiar with because, hey, most people get to level 1 and then don't ever bother with 2 or 3. But we're going to 3 in this deck, and that's one of the reasons why I really like this deck. On entry, put 2 Glimmer counters on Daochan, and then she has an inherited effect, so all of your subsequent levels of Daochan will also have this effect. You can user activate a reaction spell card from our memory. You pay its reserve cost only by removing that many Glimmer counters from Daochan. Activate this ability only during an opponent's turn. So this is really good. So being able to put more Glimmer counters on Daochan with stuff like Fire Bloom Flourish means we can actually activate this more than once, which is normally what the water decks do. The water decks usually activate this ability like once or twice, depending on if they get out their Scepter of Fascination. But we can do it actually many times. So reactions with this deck are actually really nice. We also have level 2 Daochan. So Daochan Lineage, inherited effect. At the beginning of our end phase, if the amount of Glimmer counters on Daochan is less than the amount of Fantasias you control, once again, we care about Fantasias, put a number of Glimmer counters on your champion on Daochan equal to the difference. So basically, you get Glimmer counters equal to the number of equal to the total number of Fantasias you have. So if you have 4 Fantasias on your field and you have 2 Glimmer counters, then you put 2 counters on Daochan to equal up to 4. It's really good. And once again, ways that we can keep using that inherited effect. So it's a good way to accrue some value here. And then finally, level 3. So we're not running any tarot cards in the main deck, but we do care about this enter effect, and we do care about the Scepter of Awakening. So these are like the 2 main reasons why we're getting to level 3, other than just the health total. I mean, going up to 25 health isn't nothing. And so Level 3 Daochan. On enter, choose any amount of non-champion objects and put a wither counter on each of them. This is great because it can almost time walk your opponent. You put wither counters on everything they have, and if they have a bunch of allies and a bunch of Fantasias, they're gonna have to pay for all of those. Basically what the wither counters do is, if you didn't know, is at the beginning of your opponent's turn, they'll have to pay 1 for every single wither counter, or the thing with the wither counter is destroyed. So yeah, it's just really good. And then also, whenever a non-token object an opponent controls is destroyed, you can banish it. Also pretty relevant to banish it. If you do, that opponent summons a flower bud token. The flower buds aren't going to really matter all that much. I do have some really pretty flower bud tokens, and some really pretty flowers, like foil flower tokens, but they're not going to matter with this deck. They're not really going to matter all that much. But hey, banishing them could actually matter. And so yeah, that's the reason why we get to level 3. We can basically time walk our opponent, and then we can immediately play the Scepter of Awakening because it's a 0-drop. It says Daochan bonus. As long as you control 4 or more Fantasias, you can activate this card from your material deck, so you just get it for free, which is great. And it has an effect. You can pay 2, use it. Target Fantasia you control becomes an ally in addition to its other types with base power and life equal to its reserve cost until end of turn. You put a buff counter on it. So you make your stuff into dudes. This would be a 3/3, so it'd be a 2/2 with a buff counter on it, and then you can just punch your opponent with these. It's a great way to like help finish the game and kind of like, you know, clear things up. So that's great. I don't like making Firebloom Flourish into an ally if I can't help it, because it opens it up to easier removal, because Flourish is just such a good part of this deck. But we have a lot of other Fantasias as well. So yeah, this is great. All right, rest of the material deck is going to be pretty, well, actually, let's show off the Everflame Staff. I would say the rest is pretty standard, but not really. We have Everflame Staff and the Scepter of Fascination. These are 2 just good Daochan cards. So Everflame Staff is a 0-drop. Whenever a fire element spell source you control deals damage, put a refinement counter on Everflame Staff, which is great. We're a burn deck. We're going to do a lot of fire damage, spell damage. Class bonus, banish this. As a spell, deal 4 damage to target champion. Activate this only if there are 3 or more refinement counters on it. So it's basically a 0-drop, do your opponent 4 damage. Once again, burn deck, you want to burn your opponent out. Scepter of Fascination is a way to basically double play our Daochan ability to play the reactions from our memory, which is great. So on enter, draw a card. Costs 1, but on enter, draw a card. We do have some floating memory to play this out. And then Daochan bonus, banish it, wake up your champion, put 2 glimmer counters on it. Really good. So it's a great way to get double activations from Daochan. A lot of just Daochan decks run this in general. It's a recollection deck card. All right, and the rest of the cards are pretty standard stuff. So we have Grand Crusader Ring. This is our Divine Relic of choice. Getting extra cards is really good. Backup Charger. This is another one. Just getting extra cards is really good. So you could actually just run the basically the Backup Charger version, or the card that's kind of like a Backup Charger in the Guoja deck instead of this one. They basically do the exact same thing, right? Just another way to draw a card. And if you're new to Grand Archive and you don't know the play pattern of this, basically you get your Backup Charger out. Make sure you have 3 cards in your hand, and then you can activate this. Put 3 cards down, banish the Backup Charger. You get your Power Cell token, which doesn't really matter at all for this deck, but you get your Power Cell token. And then you draw a card into your memory, but you do this before your recollection step. So you can do this during your materialization, before you recollect, so you get those cards back immediately, including the card you drew. So it's kind of like a Grand Crusader's Ring. You just have to make sure that you have 3 cards in hand to do that. We have Censor of Restful Peace, one of my spoiler cards for Abyssal Heaven. Cards in all graveyards lose abilities, just really good against a lot of different decks. Anything that cares about their stuff in their graveyards, floating memory, all that kind of good stuff. Just a nice little catch-all hate card. Similarly, Terraforming, good against the ally matchup. Really good for slowing them down so you don't die. And then Safeguard Amulet, just a crucial card against any other spell-based burn deck. Fractals, Burst Asunder. I mean, if your opponent's randomly running like, I don't know, Rye or something, still really good against that as well. Or maybe Luxem as well. So yeah, just really solid. So yeah, our material deck has a lot of just kind of like fairly standard cards and some stuff that synergizes well with Daochan. All right, so let's start talking about the deck. Let's talk about all of our burn. We're gonna talk about the burn first. All right, so we have a lot of burn. Look at this. Look at our big chunk of burn. So we're gonna talk about Fire Bloom Flourish. It's a absolutely key card to the deck. Consistent damage, but more importantly, we also get consistent card draw. This is you want to play this card. This is nuts. Next up, we have Searing Rebuke. Oh, let me go grab. I didn't. It's not part of the burn though. It should definitely be part of the burn section. Yeah. So we have Searing Rebuke. This card is kind of wild. So at the base level, it's pretty good. So it's a 2-drop cleric spell reaction. So once again, we can play this for free using our Daochan effect. It says prevent the next 3 damage to be dealt to your champion this turn. Class bonus, whenever damage is prevented this way, deal 3 damage to target champion you don't control. And so at the base level, you can prevent 3 damage, deal 3 damage to your opponent. You could also combo this with any damage that you can deal to yourself, like Fractal of Sparks. And so this is the 9 damage combo, or maybe, you know, some other amount of damage. So what Fractal of Sparks is, it's a 2-drop Fantasia with Reservable, which is really, really good, by the way. And then class bonus, Cleric, deal 1 damage to target champion. So just in general, this is really good. It helps you ping down your opponent. Combined with Fire Bloom Flourish, it's just constant damage on your opponent, which is really nice. But if you get a Searing Rebuke, these two actually pair in the way that you think they would. So this basically just means you prevent the next 3 damage to be dealt to your champion this turn. But that's not the next source of damage. It's just the next 3 damage. So if you are dealt 1 damage, it'll prevent 1, but then it'll still prevent the next 2. So if you're dealt another point of damage, it'll prevent that 1. And then if you are dealt another point of damage, it will prevent that 1. So this means if you are able to ping yourself 3 times, hit yourself 3 times with 3 different Fractal Sparks, Searing Rebuke will trigger 3 times and you will deal a total of 9 damage to your opponent. Each an instance of 3 points of damage, which is just kind of wild. And you can also, you don't need necessarily 3 of these to have that to work. Your opponent can be attacking with something, maybe like a little dude or something, or maybe even a bigger dude, right? If you have Fractal Sparks on the field, maybe 1 or 2. Let's say you have 1 Fractal Sparks on the field. Your opponent is attacking you with something. You can Fractal Sparks yourself. You can play Searing Rebuke, Fractal Sparks yourself to prevent 1, deal your opponent 3 damage, and then your opponent hits you with the ally, it'll prevent 2 of that damage, and you'll deal another 3, so it's 6. Or if you have 2, there's another way to get to 9 damage. You can Searing Rebuke, ping yourself for 2, take the oncoming damage, hit your opponent for another 3. Yeah, it's just a lot of damage. Also, once again, you can use it as prevention as well. So yeah, it's just a really, really nice combo, and just works really well with cards that, well, we're already running in the deck. Speaking of which, hey look, it's Rococo. Rococo is just really good. She's a 1-drop, 1/1 on enter. If your influence is 4 or less, deal 2 damage to target a champion. So she's basically a 1-drop, deal 3 damage, because she can attack as well. Yeah, Rococo is just really, really good. Notably, not spell damage, so it will not activate stuff like our Everflame staff. However, these are not spell damage either, but Searing Rebuke, it is a spell reaction, so yes, Searing Rebuke will actually put the counters on the staff. Next up, we have our 2 Fantasia counters. And by counters, I mean they count the number of Fantasias you have. So Shimmering Refraction, if you have been playing at all recently, you know this card, because it's in the Burst Asunder deck. Shimmering Refraction, fast speed, 2-drop, deal X damage to any unit, including your opponent's face, where X is the amount of Fantasias you control. And then specifically, Daochan bonus, if it was activated from memory, draw a card into your memory. So it's really good. Great playing this from Daochan's effect, and just dealing a lot of damage. Like I said, we do care about the number of Fantasias we have, and as I mentioned, we have 18 Fantasias in the deck. So yeah, great little burn finisher. Notably, Norm, not Fire, doesn't activate our staff. But our Glowering Conflagration does. So this is a slow speed 3-drop, but it also has Kindle, which is pretty good. Which means it's Kindle 3, you can banish up to 3 Fire Element cards in your graveyard as you activate this. And then each one you banish makes this cost 1 less. So it could be 0 if you have a bunch of Fire cards just to get rid of. And this is deal X, or 1 plus X damage to a champion, where X is the amount of Fantasias you control. So that's kind of like, you know, our next 4 copies of Shimmering Refraction, but a little bit different. But still, really good. Once again, burn deck, dude. We're a burn deck. Next up, Cindergeyser. 4-drop, class bonus. We are the bonus. As long as your opponent has 4 or more cards in the memory, this card costs 2 less to activate. Deal 4 damage to a unit. Good at killing your opponent's stuff if they're, messing with you, or 4 to the face. It's also fast speed. It's also a reaction, so you can play this using Daochan's effect, and 4 damage is perfect. So yep, we're running 4 of these as well. Great finisher. Great way to kill off those pesky allies too. And 4 damage is really good because it can kill off any of like the 3/4s, like a Frostborn Paladin with a buff or something like that. So actually very relevant. And then we also run a 2 of Explosive Fractal. This one is class bonus memory 4. On enter, deal 2 damage to a target champion, and it's also reservable. It's not quite as efficient as something like Fractal of Sparks, which is just a 2-drop, and it doesn't have any. It's just a 2-drop, doesn't have any conditions. Well, as a class bonus, but we're going to be cleric, and it just pings champion. This one does 2 damage, and you can still use it, reserve it on the turn it comes into play, but it's a little more situational. Though it is cost 3, so as long as you can combo this with one other card, you can deal a decent amount of damage. Like playing this with Rococo back to back is like pretty good. Like if you can do a thing where you like Rococo and then Explosive Fractal, you can do a lot of damage. All right, let's talk about the rest of the deck. So we have what I'm gonna call, this is our this is our card advantage, card selection suite. So we have Fractal of Insight. This is just a staple in a Fractal deck. 2-drop Fractal. 2-drop is where you want to be. Reservable. On enter, you can rest it, and if you do, Glimpse. So it helps smooth out our draws. Really solid. And it's just a great Fractal to play early on. We also have Zhangjiao, Way of Peace. Really, really good with the Fractals. We're not running a ton of Fractals specifically in the deck. We have, 10? We have 4 Insight, 2 Explosive, and then the Sparks. Those are the only Fractals we have. The other Phantasias we have come from Firebloom Flourish being a Fantasia, as well as we have a Fantasia ally as well. So anyway, we don't have a ton of Fractals in the deck, but Zhangjiao is still really, really good. And also, I just happen to have 2. I think the Rex's version of the deck was running these in Sideboard, but I like these main deck. In fact, if I had another one, I'd probably run 3, maybe even 4. This card's cracked. It's a 3-drop, 1/2 on enter, depending on the amount of cards in your memory. You do a thing. So if you have 0 in memory, you draw 2. If you have 1 to 3, you recover 4. Also very, very good. And then 4 to 6, you glimpse 4, and then 7 or more, each opponent discards a card at random from their memory. Usually it's just going to be the first 2, right? You either reserve 3 Fractals and draw 2 cards. You can reserve 1 Fractal and then put 2 cards down to recover 4. Those are the most common ones, right? Gaining some life or drawing 2 cards. Drawing 2 cards is like kind of the gas with this one though. Next up, we have a bunch of loot effects. So loot means draw a card and discard a card. So we have Hasty Messenger. It's just a nice little 1/2 for 2. On attack, you can discard a card if you do draw a card. Yeah, it's just good for filtering our hand, getting rid of cards that we don't need, and then setting up some of our floating memory, of which we do have 8 floating memory in main deck. So it's not nothing. And then we also have the Creative Shock, same kind of deal. I think this might be my most underperforming card in the deck. It's a great turn 1 play, but this is one that's on the chopping block for me. Let me know if you have any other ideas swapping the Creative Shocks. I'm not sure. I'm not sure of this one. We don't get the class bonus to deal damage, and just getting the draw 2 cards and discard a card, it's like fine, but it feels a little slow, and I haven't been super impressed with this so far. Especially since we don't have a ton of ways to use the cards in our graveyard. We do have the Glowering, right? So that is a good way to set up our Kindle. These 2 are both good ways to set up our Kindle, or to set up our floating memory. But outside of that, I'm not super impressed. Next up, we have Heal. So we have a bunch of cards that heal. So we have Novice Healer and Fast Cure. So Novice Healer is an interesting one. It is a 3-drop 2/2. On enter, you just recover 3 if you are a cleric. It's really good. We do have another option for this that's a little bit more resilient and a little bit better against the ally matchup, which is the Allied War Priestess, which I run these in the sideboard. It's a 1/3 for 3, and then class bonus, it'll get +1. So it's actually a 2/3 for 3 if you're a cleric, which is actually really good. And then memory 4+ on attack, recover 2. The reason I have the novice healers in the main deck and these in the side deck is these are really good against ally matchups, or just basically really good against ally matchups. But the novice healers in particular, they always get you that recover 3, which is really important for a lot of decks. So running 3 of these in the main. And then fast cure, once again, nice little heal 4 if our influence is less than our opponents. And then also it has that floating memory, which is good because we are actually getting to level 3. So there are reasons to actually have the floating memory and to pay for it. And then of course, the last couple cards in the deck are, well, just helps us get to level 3 is basically what I think about these. But the Maiden, I think, helps double time. So Maiden of Shimmering Air, I actually really love this card. It's a 2-drop 1/2 cleric apparition, but it's a Fantasia ally. So it actually counts for any card that cares about Fantasias. And we have a lot of cards that care about Fantasias, which is really, really good. And it has floating memory. So this is actually a really, really nice include in the deck. I like this card quite a bit. And then finally, we have Dungeon Guides, right? We have the 4 Dungeon Guides. I think Rex's deck was running 3. I bumped it up to 4 just to have that little bit extra consistency. But yeah, you know, this is a deck where, like I said, Rex was only running 3. But I like just the little bit of extra added consistency for that. And then for the sideboard, we have those Allied War Priestess that I mentioned. We have Mystic Purify. So he was running these main deck. I have swapped these out to just sideboard. And why? Well, it's because I play this deck with friends and I play this deck on the Discord, and those people aren't running the Fractals decks. If they were all running Fractals, if I was playing this deck in a tournament and expected to run up against Fractals, you put this main deck, right? That's just what it is. That's what this card does. It's a 2-drop. It's a 1/2 on enter. You can pay an additional 2. If you do, destroy Fantasia. So if you're running into a meta, you have a lot of Fantasias, you put this in your main deck. Otherwise, I just have this in my sideboard. But like I said, I'm only running it sideboard because the people I play against regularly don't actually play the Fractals deck. We also have a Null spell. It's one that Rex was using, and I kind of like it. It's a 3-drop fast cleric spell reaction. I love that it's a reaction. Level 2+, this card costs 1 less to play, so it's basically a 2-drop. And then you negate a spell activation unless its controller pays 3. This is another really nice card to put in against the Burst Asunder Fractals deck. So like if I'm playing against that, then I board in these guys, right? Because, well, you counter the Burst Asunder essentially. So, yep, that's what those are for. And then we also have 2 material deck cards. We have the Nullifying Lantern. It can kind of hurt us a little bit, but we want to play this so we hurt our opponent even more. Cards in graveyards are norm element. A lot of fire decks that want to burst us down, want to try to race us. We're not running stuff like Rending Flame, so yeah, Nullifying Lantern is good against those decks. And then we have the Sigil of Budding Embers, another just kind of like burn Regalia. So it's a 0 cost Regalia, Cleric Bauble, comes into play rested because it's hindered. Daochan bonus, remove X Glimmer counters from your champion, banish it, as a spell deal X damage to target champion. So this is kind of a slow card, but if you can just kind of accrue more and more of those Glimmer counters, we can deal a lot of damage with this card. Yeah, basically you want to maybe side this in against like slower decks or decks that are maybe the opposite, maybe decks you think you can burn out really, really quickly. And then the other option is, I didn't run these in my deck, but Rex was running these, and I've been messing with them here and there, but I ended up cutting them overall. This is just a nice little prevention spell. Crystallized Destiny. Next time damage you be dealt to your champion this turn, prevent it, which is just all of the damage, which is really good against like Siryu, dealing 11 damage, Arcane Blasts. And then when 7 or more damage prevented this way, cards your opponents activate this turn cost 2 more to activate. So it's pretty good against like some specific decks, but I haven't found it super useful in the decks that I'm playing against currently. And yeah, that is the Fire Daochan deck. This deck is super fun. One of my favorite decks to play currently in Grand Archive right now, right next to my Wind Tristan deck, which I still have and I still play. I've been upgrading and updating it, but dude, Searing Rebuke and Firebloom Flourish are so sweet. I gotta run stuff like Rococo. Yeah, this deck is so much fun, and it's all because of the Firebloom Flourish. And also I just really like Daochan. Daochan is like really fun to play. She has like this, you know, kind of sneakiness, being able to play your reactions from your memory, all this just cool stuff. Yeah, I like this deck a lot. The biggest downside of the deck, this is an expensive deck. I'm just gonna come out and say it, it's an expensive deck. Everything from GCR to the Flourishes weren't too much when I bought them. I had to buy these, and same with the Rebukes, but it starts getting expensive because you're running the dungeon guides, and you're running the Zhang Jiaos, which are ridiculous. But most of the other cards are not too bad. All the cost of this deck is down to these cards, like Fireblue over Coco, actually. So it's like these three, and the dungeon guide, 4 cards, and the Zhang Jiao. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So that's the big downside of the deck. It's kind of expensive, but man, it's fun. So if you already have these cards, if you bought a bunch of Abyssal Heaven, and you still have like some extras sitting around, I recommend trying this deck out. It's a ton of fun. Different take on kind of like a Fractals kind of thing. And you get to play some fire, and I get to play level 3, which is cool. You can maybe, if you want to be cheeky, maybe you can sneak in some Terra cards if you want to be super cheeky about it. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this deck in the comment section down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to enter the giveaway for this beautiful, beautiful wallet. All you got to do is you got to let me know in the comments down below what your favorite deck in Grand Archive is right now. Also, subscribe, because, hey, just do it. Just do it. All right, anyway, thanks so much, everyone. And we shall see you next time.